GOP gubernatorial candidate out of New York. He gets attacked on stage. Guy tries to stab him. Here's the video.
Is our last stand for New York. And there's only one option.
What is he doing? Why did they let him get up there? Get over there.
Hold on. Get Lee out of here.
Let's put up the screenshot. I want to show you the knife. Do you see in the right hand of the individual? That could have killed this New York Republican gubernatorial candidate named Lee Zeldin. Now, I'm covering this story because this never should have happened to him, regardless of his political affiliation. This never should have been a reality that he faced on that stage. But more and more violence is being animated against those running for political office. So just like I sit here and tell everyone you do not engage in violence because someone disagrees with you politically. Typically, I'm defending left-leaning candidates and left-leaning politicians and left-leaning advocacy groups. This time I'm defending a right-leaning candidate, and I'm fine with that because this should not be. Let's put this picture up again, okay? Now, I'm not sure what kind of security protocol this cat has, but obviously he needs a new one. This is a screenshot of Zeldin back. He's backing the attacker. He's pushing him back. He was armed with a piercing weapon. According to the staff, no one was hurt. Nobody sustained injuries. And the candidate was obviously a little scared, but also had a little scrape. The attacker, let's put him up, was identified as David J. Cubonis. David is an Army veteran, currently unemployed, was under the influence of alcohol, according to the report at the time. He was arraigned for second-degree attempted assault and freed on his own recognizance, meaning he did not need to post a bond whatsoever. He just literally almost killed someone on stage, and he gets a signature bond, okay? A man identified as Joe Chenley attacked and restrained this individual and later told Rochester First News when he said he served in Iraq. I got down on my hands and knees and said, we're going to get through whatever you're going through, whatever you've done here tonight. The individual is a national director of the nonprofit veteran service group, AM Vets, and a candidate for state office on the Republican Conservative Party tickets. So they had this kind of, it's going to be okay moment. Under no circumstance should this be allowable in our political arena, but it's becoming more and more common. Now, we don't know all of the motivation here. We don't know if this individual had a personal issue or a political one, but we do know it should not happen, period. And it's happening too damn much in this country. All right, Dan, thoughts here?
Yeah, I think a lot of people are acknowledging the rising tensions in this country overall, and especially the rising tensions towards political figures. It starts in the rhetoric. When people use phrases like stochastic terrorism, we're talking about using political rhetoric on shows like this, where at least we try to be responsible on TYT Network, but there are other networks out there and other places on the internet where they amplify voices that are stoking violent rhetoric. They're raising the stakes and saying that these people who don't look like you, these people who are have different religions, have different genders, they're coming to attack you and they're coming for your children, and you have to defend yourself by any means necessary, and that includes by beefing up the Second Amendment that, by the way, the Supreme Court is helping us with, by the way. So when you're doing all of this stuff, when you're building all this rage in society, it's going to build out on the fringes where you have someone, I don't know what, based on being a veteran, what sort of like traumas he may or may not have. He clearly seemed to be drunk there. There's a lot going on there when you combine America's failing mental health system, especially for veterans, with this increasing political rhetoric that no one is tamping down on. Very few people are tamping down on the right, especially. It's a recipe for disaster. And I'll just also point out here, thankfully, this is just one of those little weapons, like keychain weapons you could buy at the store that oftentimes you take home if you're like walking alone at night and you don't feel safe or whatever. But thankfully, this wasn't a gun, because it would have been much worse if he had a gun.
Exactly.